Okay, perfect. I was worried there for a second.
How are you, Mike?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Good.
Oh, I think Murray is calling Chris, maybe?
Yeah,
Is the-
we're all good now. So we are
Oh.
live stream at the moment.
Oh, awesome. There's everybody. Hello, Darlene. Hello, Kira. Hi, Bob.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Okay, we have received regrets from Councillor Miller. So I believe this is everyone for our meeting today. Oh, sorry, Madam Chair, I think you're muted.
I didn't notice that, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, I'll call the meeting to order for January the 22nd, 2026. This is the a special meeting, and it's the Silicon OPP Detachment Board meeting. So so 1A, call the meeting to order, and I guess I have to mention that this is being live streamed, so just to make you aware that it's being recorded and live streamed. And for 1A attendance, so if someone is not here, and then number 2, the land acknowledgement. I'll just say it. We are on the traditional territory of the Sioux First Nation within the areas of Treaty 3 and 9. And in addition, many of the people in community we serve are also in Treaty 5, the Anishinaabe Nation, within the Anishinaabe Nation area. Okay, so, and then number 3, approval of the agenda. So 3A, introduction of amendments to the agenda.
Through you, Madam Chair, I don't have any amendments.
Okay. All right, and I don't see any other, nobody has their hands raised. Okay. So we'll move on to approve the agenda. 3B, approve the agenda as presented. Bob moves and Kira second. And all in favor? Yes, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. My computer wants to update something.
Oh, boy.
I'm on a
Always
laptop.
at the most inconvenient times.
Yeah. Okay, number 4. So that's done. And number 4, declarations of interest.
Through you, Madam Chair, I haven't received any for this meeting.
Okay. Number 5, the adoption of the minutes. There are none. This is a special meeting. Delegations, presentations, there are none. So that's number 6. And then number 7, item for discussion. slash reports. 7A, review of the draft local action plan for 2026 and 29. So we all received the documents within the in our emails. Okay,
Great.
so this is, yeah,
If I may, Madam Chair, if we could just pop back up to 1B for 1 second, I'd like to, given that we did receive regrets from Councillor Miller, if I could put a motion to the board that the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board excuses Councillor Miller from the January 22nd, 2026 special meeting.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So if we could just maybe have a mover and seconder, that would be great.
Okay, so for 1B, mover, I'll move, and Bob will second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Oh, and all in favor?
oh yeah, oh,
Thanks.
everybody's in favor.
Great. So with respect to the local action plan, I'm happy to. I think perhaps it may be helpful if there's any specific questions or comments from the board members. Maybe we could sort of jump off from there, and then which I think. Not to put you on the spot, Inspector, but if there's any specific comments related to the content right now, if you would be comfortable addressing them, and then we'll sort of see what feedback there is in this initial, and then there's a discussion guide that I can help facilitate if necessary. But if folks already have some things to contribute, that's great. I know I don't get a say. I don't as a staff person, but I just wanted to say to the inspector that I thought it was a really well assembled action plan. It covers some really important topics. I think that both the communities of Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake would find of interest. So I just wanted to start the dialogue off by saying, great job and thanks for the opportunity, to enable the board to have a review and an opportunity to provide some input. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
So maybe we just open the floor and see if anyone has any specific feedback on the overall plan or on any of the specific goals or actions. Okay. If we sort of go through the document, you will note on page 4, there is a spot available for a message from the OPP Detachment Board or from the chair of the board. A message of that effect is usually something that's reflective of the plan and the board's commitment to work collaboratively with the command and the detachment commander in implementing the plan. Mary, I believe there is a draft of that letter.
Yes, yeah. I think that was included with the agenda package. Might have been a separate document.
Great.
I think, I hope.
Yeah, it's
double
in
check.
the email.
Okay, awesome.
Great.
If I may, I have a question on the letter. Um, is Wawakapiwin no longer in the Sioux Lookout cluster?
I don't see that name.
Is that Long Dog?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's beside near Wapakika, isn't it? Wapakika is right beside Big Trout, but Wawakapewin is by itself somewhere else, right?
So we are required to provide policing there, but we don't have any officers stationed there. Because I think the
Okay.
population is only 20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's the reason I'm asking is originally the the First Nations included in the regulation for the detachment board or was included Wawakapiwin, but okay, that's what I kind of was wondering if why it wasn't included in the letter. So, okay, thanks.
You.
Okay.
All right. Um, Sorry, I'm just looking at the attachments. So yes, the action plan is there. The discussion tool is there. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the draft letter from the detachment board.
You want me to
I can
send
forward
it?
it to you, Brian, if you want.
Oh, sure, that would be great. Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
I can give you a copy. I'm right next door.
Sure, sure.
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
It looks good to me. On behalf of the Sioux Detachment Board, we're pleased to endorse the 26-29 Detachment Action Plan. It reflects a strong partnership between detachment and the communities and serves, which including Township of Pickle Lake and First Nations of Kitchinamegazib and Innuak, North Caribou Lake, and Mapukika. The board is encouraged by the comprehensive approach taken by the detachment, which balances proactive crime reduction, traffic and marine safety, meaningful community engagement. We particularly support the emphasis on youth programming, trauma-informed policing, and enhanced collaboration with service providers to protect vulnerable populations. We commend the detachment for its extensive community consultations in developing this plan, including dialogue with municipal councils, First Nation chiefs and councils, school boards, and local organizations. This ensures the action plan reflects community priorities and reinforces trust, transparency, and accountability. The board looks forward to monitoring the outcomes of this plan and supports the Sioux Detachment in delivering safe, responsive, and community-focused policing over the next 4 years. Okay, great. Local, okay. When I'm reading the third paragraph, you're mentioning municipal council, First Nations, chiefs and councils, school boards, and local organizations. Should we put the local businesses in there as well? That's about the only edit I can
Great.
That one looks a little bit different than what I have. Now it looks a little bit different. Let's see, how about the north? Okay.
Yeah, I have one that says example of message and it's a bit shorter.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. That's the one I just read out.
Yes, that's the one to add over here.
Right,
Sorry, I was
okay.
on the other page. That was my fault. Sorry.
Okay, so we haven't
Yeah.
looked at that one yet.
Didn't see
That's
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the draft of the message from the chair or the board, however you want to stylize that in the plan.
I guess we just
Um,
board and take out the chair.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that is that okay to do, Inspector Price? To
Yeah,
just
no,
say
absolutely. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll put that forward.
Awesome.
I don't see any issues.
Great.
Yeah, we're all looking at it and we're all inputting into it. So
Absolutely.
oh, I don't want to take the whole credit.
I'm not sure if like this is the same one I'm looking at, but it says the board looks forward to monitoring. I'm wondering if we should say the board is committed to monitoring.
Great.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. The outcomes of the plan, committed to monitoring.
Great. Good. If everyone is comfortable with that, then staff will finalize it and make a couple of tweaks as necessary, and then we will send it off to the inspector for inclusion. Terrific. And I see we've gone through page 5 with respect to the description of our detachment, and I think that the inspector again did a really nice job of sort of pulling all of that together. And Sioux Lookout is a significant detachment in terms of the people it serves and the geography it serves. I think the map on page 6 is really telling. That's a huge swath of land, and really does speak to the unique nature of our particular detachment in respect to not only geography, but also I think with respect to some of the unique policing challenges and opportunities and so on that is encountered in this area. Great. With respect to, so there's the action plan summary on page 7, and then and then it sort of goes into greater detail on the ensuing pages with the specific commitments, actions, and outcomes. Did anything in there stand out to the board as anything that you wanted to seek clarification on or provide input into, or was there anything that I think it's important that we sort of acknowledge that the detachment and the inspector probably have a really good idea about what those pressing matters are, because since they're on the ground every day and doing the important work. But I think that this is probably a good opportunity for the board, if there are any specific questions or if there are any specific requests, to have something revised or added. Now's the time to bring that forward.
On okay, on page 7, on the third the third okay, so pull up page 7. Third one under community well-being.
Mhm.
Maybe after the word disabilities, vulnerable persons experiencing houselessness, because
Okay.
homelessness is kind of getting to be an outdated term. So if you put vulnerable persons experiencing houselessness, that might be a change there. And if we see homelessness, we could throw out the other parts. Then we could probably also replace it with being houseless or instead of homelessness. Yeah. That seems to be the new term for homelessness.
Okay.
That sounds good to me, Chair. I'll make the edit on my copy, and then does somebody have a copy that they're working off of there too? With the board message? Okay, so you'll send me that as well. Okay.
I have one question. On page 10, what is the big four?
So it's the big four causal factors of fatal motor vehicle collisions. So speed,
Oh.
impaired driving, seat belts,
Yeah.
and I'm probably missing one, but that's what it is. So that's what the officers are really patrolling for out there,
Okay.
in an effort to improve traffic safety and save lives.
Can we put that in brackets? Maybe the
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, because I don't know. I wouldn't known what the big four was. It seems like it's
I looked it up. I Googled it.
well, it came up.
So do you have them there? Yeah, speeding, impaired driving, distracted driving, and seatbelt / restraint use.
Sorry, Inspector. The third one, I have speeding, impaired driving.
Distracted driving?
Oh, right. Thank you.
Yep.
Great. I can also maybe take this opportunity to let the board know that Sioux Lookout is in the process of implementing a new traffic and control bylaw. And I just wanted to let the board know that we have shared that with the detachment, and So any feedback that we get from the detachment on that bylaw, we will incorporate as well. So just a demonstration of that ongoing collaboration and that back and forth that ensures that all the players are on the same page and working towards the same outcomes.
It's coming. I haven't sent it yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. It just got first and second reading last night. So sorry, Mary, I
That's
didn't.
okay.
Yeah, we
I was
we
in
didn't
the,
want to send it before. We wanted to make sure that council was okay with the first draft before we sent it out. So Inspector Crates, that'll be coming your way in the coming days.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate you and your team taking the time to review it.
yeah.
No, it's no problem at all. We're happy to.
Um, if I could ask, just on page 12, under the commitment related to increased community engagement and strengthen community relationships through enhanced communication and information sharing, under the actions, sorry, I just lost my spot here. Oh yeah. So under the actions, the third paragraph, which states continue to actively identify and escalate cases of high-risk individuals through the situation table through to prevent victimization and enhance community protection. And this is really just my learning. um, does Pickle Lake also have a situation table, or are there not enough external organizations there to make that viable?
I don't want to necessarily say there aren't enough external organizations, but they do not have a situation table. So there's specific situation table training that the members need to take. When I took it, it was through Wilfrid Laurier University. And then basically it's kind of like a community-led initiative to get one going. So it's absolutely an option for Pick Lake, and it's certainly something that we can help with coordinating. But at this point, they don't have one.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sorry, did we lose Bob?
Nope, he's still there. I think maybe
Oh.
you just can't see him because
Oh.
you'd have to press the arrow button over.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, Bob.
The other thing, Mary, you can do that I did was if you go to your own, if you go to where it says council chamber screen, because it's not, there's nobody present, you can just say hide that video and
Oh,
then
okay.
everything else will show up for you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome. No problem.
I was worried we lost quorum.
Just for Pick Lake and their situation table, I should probably add that it's normal for smaller communities to kind of more just have ad hoc situation tables, and the community partners themselves come together, when someone's in crisis and find solutions. So that happens, routinely in Pick Lake. It's just not a formalized situation table.
Absolutely. Makes sense, for sure. So having looked at sort of the key areas and then sort of looking at the more in-depth aspects of the action plan, were there any other comments from members regarding those commitments, actions, or outcomes?
If I may, Brian, I'd just like to add, like I did keep the commitments fairly broad, and I feel that, you know, as I'm carrying out this action plan, or we are, there's a lot of room for continued discussion on emerging priorities that I feel like will fit within these commitments. So for what it's worth, it's a bit of a living document and certainly something that we can always come back to.
Fantastic. I really appreciate you sharing that, Inspector. When I was reading them, I thought the same. I'm like, this is great. There's definitely room here to you know, they're broad enough so that other initiatives could be enveloped there as well, which is great. I think too, you know, as the board becomes more familiar with its role and you know, especially in these types of documents, I suspect probably in 4 years' time there will be more feedback, just because the board will have been working with the document and sort of have some more experience to be able to share.
Absolutely, and you know, during the quarterly reports, like reviewing the statistics, you know, priorities I think become more clear as you're delving into the information, and you know, seeing what the realities are and what the police officers are actually working on. So, no, that's a good point.
Great. As I'm looking at the sort of the discussion guide that was shared with us, you know, I think that although in some respects they're saying, you know, there are local nuances, of course, and I think we all agree on that. But I think the board would also probably feel comfortable in acknowledging that, you know, the provincial picture also applies locally when they talk about, you know, calls for service remain high, and sort of that trajectory of calls for service, that social issues continue to land on police desks first, often, and sometimes only, which I think I think the inspector has done a great job in this plan in talking about the ongoing work to foster partnerships and work with other service providers to ensure that people are getting connected to the supports that they need at the right time and in the right places. So I think that's certainly relevant and clearly captured in this action plan. And again, the next one sort of feeds on that as well, where they say community partnerships are matter more than ever. And I think that certainly in our communities, we acknowledge the importance of that, and that's certainly reflected in the draft action plan as well. So I think it's great that, you know, that the guiding document sort of suggests that these aren't just big city issues. And I think that our experience suggests that that's very much the case. These are issues that are also experienced in, you know, small urban or small northern or small rural communities as well. I think they also, in the guide, when they talk about, you know, the board asking itself the question, does our local picture look the same, worse, or completely different? And I think that, again, I think in 4 years' time, the board will be in a better position to be able to be calibrated to provide a better response to that. You know, the board, of course, just formed technically in 2024, and has spent, you know, the better part of its first year sort of getting up and running and getting the administrative apparatus in place, and just sort of receiving and reviewing the quarterly stats and asking good questions about those. I think once the board has had a cycle to work with the action plan, I think that, you know, there will be even greater insights and opportunities in the future for feedback. As I sort of go through the discussion paper, it suggests some trends that may be worth paying attention to, and they talk about things like traffic and road safety, and that is certainly well addressed in the draft action plan. Mental health crisis calls, and certainly we talk about that in the community safety and well-being aspects. Intimate partner and family violence being a resource-intensive area, and I think that we see that in different ways in our communities, and the fact remains that's there as well. Opioids and overdoses, where coordination with health and community partners is essential. Again, I think that, you know, we recognize that as well in our communities, and that although opioids and overdoses and things related to illegal drugs are important to continue to monitor. And I know that we've heard updates from the inspector about the important and valuable and effective work that's being done by the forgive me, you may have to help me with the right term, but the drug team in Sioux.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And the great work and the considerable advances that they've made in helping to take some of those drugs off the streets in our communities is fantastic. And at the same time, also acknowledging that, you know, at the heart of many of our calls for service is alcohol seems to be more predominant by large than negative impacts from illegal drugs. And I think I'm fair in saying that, Inspector.
Absolutely. And you'll continue to hear that from me over the next 4 years, that alcohol is most impactful on the wellness and safety of Sioux.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that's really exciting, you know, over the next 4 years is the opportunity for the board, the detachment, and the communities in a broader way to become more involved with the implementation of the community's respective community safety and well-being plans. And again, that's all very much about collaboration and bringing agencies together and bringing resources together to address some of the challenges. And so, you know, that clearly fits so well under this area of community well-being. And again, just a really nice marriage there of the detachment's priorities and the municipality's mandated priorities with respect to community safety and well-being. So again, I think that's well reflected in the document, but that's my observation anyway. But if there's others who have anything to add, I think that's great. And so I think finally, the last sort of section in the discussion guide talks about, you know, what trends do we see locally that match the provincial picture? And again, I think we touched on that there are certainly many similarities, and I think that the way the action plan has been put together really does highlight those trends and does a deeper dive into the local context and how the detachment envisions responding to that. So, I think that there's a great balance there between acknowledging these provincial trends, but also that they are local trends and what they look like at the local level and how we can best respond at the local level. And I think that that's been well laid out and discussed in the document. One of the questions that it asks is, what partnerships do we need to support gathering of data to ensure these priorities? And I think that that's something that is an important consideration. We're very fortunate that we're provided on a quarterly basis with very in-depth statistics of policing activities and opportunities and challenges that, and what those realities look like. And I think that it'll be important for the board to not only continue to review those in detail and ask the really good questions, but also the board may wish to give some thought to, other types of data that we may be able to tap into that can help drive decision making, that can help drive recommendations and advocacy initiatives. And I think that we will see more of that as the board becomes more involved with the implementation of the community safety and well-being plans for both communities. I don't recall offhand if we have circulated it to the board, but the municipality, the OPP, the Kenora District Services Board, the health, and in collaboration with the health unit and the Menoyawan Health Center, undertook an availability of alcohol study. That is quite an interesting read. If we haven't yet shared that with the board, I will do that ahead of the next meeting, because I think that some of the data and insights from that study are quite telling, especially with respect to just the true extent of the impact of the availability of alcohol has on calls for service and related local impacts. So I'll be sure to share that with everyone. So this is sort of an initiative that the health unit has taken on. They're sort of facilitating the gathering of all the data. It was the mention of data that sort of triggered my thoughts on this. So the health unit has been involved in sort of gathering data. I know just some of the highlights, when the LCBO in Sioux Lookout closed for 2 days a week, and has remained so, not necessarily on a policy decision, but on a staffing challenge situation. But the outcome has still been the same either way, that calls for service to the OPP are reduced by 50% on those days. Similar stats for calls for ambulance on those days. And, I think that those are incredibly telling statistics when it comes to the impact of alcohol on policing and community safety and well-being in our community. So I do encourage you to have a look at that when we circulate it. All right, so that sort of takes us through the, my apologies, through the guide. Not sure if there's any other feedback.
No, I don't see anything. It seems to include everything. The partnerships with local service providers is very important. Because in the past, I mean, when the supportive housing was set up, the calls for service did also go down. Uh, um, and we seem to need more supportive housing if we can get that, or even the goal with working with the municipality and the mayor, he advocates for the detox all the time, instead of police having to take people to the police station, then, they would at least have a place that is built to take care of people who are experiencing the alcohol addiction, and they would be in a safer place health-wise, on a health perspective. So that'll be nice to see that in the future. Um, yeah, so the only other thing, that's about it. I think I can't really see anything else other than the recent I believe they did a study on the vulnerable people on the streets throughout Ontario. I don't know if we should also distribute that document, because it did say there are 85,000 who are on the streets, 85,000 people who are houseless in Ontario. And they also talk about the camps that people are living in. There are 2,000 camps that are within the towns and cities of Ontario. So I think we have our own camps here. I don't know how many there are right now. Um, so we have those issues too.
Mhm.
I think that's about it. Other than that, for the action plan, the only other thing is, expanding some of the services for the OPP. Uh, is there anything in the future that we might be seeing here in Silco? Just a question.
Yeah, so a lot of it's based on staffing, but absolutely, an increased presence, depending on staffing for our street crime unit, for our offender management and apprehension program. We're looking at onboarding an officer, to keep track of warrants and violent offenders in the community. And then currently we have a community engagement officer, so he's working with the mobile outreach team. He's attending the situation tables, so as long as our staffing remains good and recruiting is a huge priority of mine, then yeah, there's a number of areas that we're looking to expand and ensure are staffed.
Okay. No more questions for me. All right. So I think we're done with all of this. Good work, and we'll see how it goes, I guess, for the next 4 years.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, this I really appreciate the feedback. This document is very important to me. I spent a lot of time working on it over the last few months, and having been in policing in the Sioux area for 18 years, I've been working with a lot of you for a long time already, and yeah, we have a lot of work to do, but I feel like our priorities have been set, and I'm really looking forward to working with the young, dedicated members here and achieving these goals. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if I may, I just wanted to mention, it kind of goes with what Brian and the inspector were saying about 4 years from now. We are working with the Ontario Association of Police Services boards to work on a brief training session for board members and for staff, frankly, to try to get a better idea of what our role is or what the board's role is, and what they can do, what they can't do, how far can they go. We're not, the board isn't allowed to get involved in the day-to-day operation, but more at this level, at a higher level. But what does that really mean? And to use a phrase that Mayor Lawrence has used is how do we operationalize the legislation and our roles and that. So we are working with OAPSB and hope to have something for a training session sometime in the spring, maybe February or March. And that'll help us dig a little deeper into these things. And be one of the questions I had about the local action plan was for the inspector, what do you need from the board? What do you want from the board? Because it is sort of a two-way street. So that training might help all of us. I don't know.
No, for sure, and it's the feedback that I receive in those quarterly meetings, and I'm really careful about setting the reports out ahead of time and giving people a chance to kind of digest the statistics, and if anything, because statistics don't tell the whole story, right? When you ask me to look into things more, I can look into the occurrences, look into who was involved, and report back on that. But yeah, your observations and feedback, I think, will help guide me on what's important to the board and will help me prioritize certain aspects of the plan.
Great.
Any comment from Pickle Lake? Oh, you're on mute.
No, just looking at the plan, of course, this is all kind of new to me and probably the whole board, so it was kind of hard to, I'd say process, but just to understand everything that's going on. But it looks very well planned out, and as far as the action plan goes, and um, I don't know if this is the right time or not, but I was thinking about um, when we talk about how alcohol has an impact upon the community, it's a lot of it is the impact is more than just the people that are drinking. It has an impact upon their families and even upon the community itself. Um, for example, here at the Northern store, a lot of times it's very uncomfortable to go into the northern store because there's people hanging around, and they're asking for money and stuff, and even taking a walk on the street sometimes it's uncomfortable because I'll meet somebody along the way who's been drinking, and I know my wife likes to walk not in this cold weather, but she always plans out her path where she's not going to meet somebody. So just things like that has an impact upon the community. And I guess the question is, and maybe this in the future session is, what is the solution? How can we help the people that are also there that are struggling with addiction, but also in a way that would benefit the community. Um, so anyway, but as far as the action plan goes, to me, it looks, very well planned out. So.
Oh, sorry, Madam Chair, you're on mute. Sorry.
I said I put myself on mute. I forgot. Yeah, I'm sure that's a discussion, Bob, that a lot of communities are dealing with. In Kenora, I'm sure. Sioux, yes, for sure. We've had people say that, Front Street is no longer, the place to, walk or whatever. But anyway, I think uh, we we have to look at the whole situation. Where does this start? Where is it coming from? And of course, we see First Nations people like myself, or you know, we we have been through a lot, and we've been through the trauma with and trying to get the OPP to learn about those traumas that have happened in the past. And I know we keep saying it over and over again, but and then every year we do the orange shirt thing. We are trying to, become more resilient. And, when you look at the population of the homeless people, say houseless people, I say majority being First Nation here in Sioux, you have about 60 or 70 who are, who form that little group of people, whereas the population of the town is probably 6,000. So what ends up, maybe not even probably 1% of the population is, part of that. But they're highly visible, and they do have some effect on the local businesses and places because they want to stay warm. So they might, you know, go into a grocery store. But I imagine in Pickle Lake, there's not too many places to go, just to get out of the cold for a couple of minutes. And so that's what takes place in the wintertime here because of the temperatures. And anyway, yeah, those are hard discussions that everybody needs to have, and hopefully we can have those in the future um, somehow, somewhere, and maybe in other places, workplaces, and how can we help? That's the only solution right now is to try to set up warming centers. We had warming center here in the past, and and people would go in and have soup or coffee, and uh, and there was discussion about the location of it, but I mean it worked though. I think people were safer, and um but we just didn't have the funding and the place to do it this year uh with some of the organizations that are um handling the vulnerable people. So but we do have the van driving around, and we do give out hats and mitts and things here at the Quail Women's Group, and we give out snack bags, and they come up here to get out of the cold for a little bit. But it's not a place to really sit around. It just might be a minute or two to a few minutes to gather their whatever they need, and we record the numbers. And anyway, the Friendship Center does the same thing, I think. Uh, and then people go over there for things. And I believe the homeless shelter, they have lunch, and I'm not sure what they're doing in this colder weather, but they may be having people over there during the day, maybe, because I'm sort of seeing a lesser numbers of people with this temperature that's happening right now. So anyway, I think in the future we could do more discussion, and we could come up with more ideas. How do we? Some of them want to quit drinking. They want to. But where do they go? What do they do? Where do they go for treatment? And so we try to tell them, well, okay, go and check this out, or go over here, and some of them want to go to school, um, become educated. And how do we help some of them people who are and get off that cycle of addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol? That's the other thing. Housing for them, maybe that might be another solution once they're in a house. If it's an older person, maybe they just want to have a TV and a place to watch TV and food to eat and a roof over their head, and they might be happy with something like that. And try to always push sobriety with them, to have programs that work with them if they're in their own housing. So I think programs work, and hearing the messages of becoming sober and living a better life, I think it works over time. It does. Well, for me, it did. I mean, I was there before. So,
Well,
okay.
yeah, thank you for your comments there. I'm a pastor here in Pickle Lake. Actually, we're pastoring down at Mishagovamon now. But
Oh,
for 9 years here in Pickle Lake, we worked with the folks that are on the street, and we do care about them, and so we're always looking for ways to help in that area. I know this is kind of not our board discussion here, but I would love to sometime if we could meet, just sit down and talk and get your story, and just yes, thank you for your comments.
okay. All right. Okay, so for this special meeting, I guess we'll have to go back to it. The draft action plan seems to have been, do we need a motion or anything? No? Okay.
No, I think between the inspector and myself and Mary, I think we've captured the feedback, and we will compare notes and make sure that everything that was discussed is reflected in the action plan. So thank you very much to the board members for making yourselves available today and for providing feedback. We really appreciate it.
All right. So that's 7A is done. We'll move on now to number 8, correspondence, and there is none. So we don't have to do anything there. So number 9, the next meeting is Thursday, February 26th at 2 p.m. And I guess,
So yep, I see.
I was just gonna say, I'm not here that week.
okay.
Yeah, we did put tentative next to it because there are a couple of folks who are have some challenges with that date. So thanks so much for letting us know. Perhaps we could look at an alternative date, and if we're able to pick that today, then everyone knows well in advance. I'm not sure if everyone has their calendars available, or if there are any time either. I guess we could start with the week before, the week after, if there's any possible dates in that range.
I can do the 19th. I'll be in a meeting right till 2, but can still come. If I'm 5 minutes late, you can wait. Or the next week, the week after, I'm totally free.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I'm not available on most of that week, only available on February 20th of that week.
Okay.
I'm good that day as well.
Okay. How about others for the 20th?
I'm good on the 20th, Brent.
Okay. Okay.
Can we make it for 1 o'clock?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for folks.
Okay, so for the next meeting date has been moved to February the 20th on Friday at 1 o'clock. Okay. Okay, we're on to number 10 now. We have the motion to adjourn, so any mover? Yes, Kira and Bob. And all in agreement, show of hands, yes. Yeah. All in favor?
Great.
All right, so we'll see you. Thank you for coming out this afternoon, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone. Thank
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Everybody, have a great afternoon. Stay
Bye.
warm.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.